What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined by UFC Featherweight Bryce Mitchell. It's my first interview of 2023, and we're getting it started on the farm in Arkansas with Mr. Mitchell. Man, how
Wow.
are you? How was Christmas, and how was your New Year?
Well, dude, what an honor. I didn't know I was the first interview. Wow.
Not that big of an honor,
We're
man,
going
but
to start this year off right, brother. Uh,
absolutely.
Christmas was awesome. I gained my weight back. I'm back to, what I walk around at normally. I ate a bunch. I'm still eating. Actually, I got my stomach back because, like, when you cut all that weight, it takes a while to get your stomach back. Like, you can't eat normal sized meals. I mean, it's just, I can't at least. Everybody else's body is different, but for me, when I cut like 20 pounds or whatever, it takes me a while. Trust me, I'm back. I'm back to eating everything that I normally eat.
Yeah. How much better is life when you're eating what you want? I mean, is that how difficult of a sacrifice is that for you?
Well, when you're cutting weight, you're not really living. You're surviving, and there's a difference when you're living your life. You're enjoying it, and you're doing stuff. You're meeting objectives and goals, and you're flourishing. You're getting better. One foot is in front of the other. When you're cutting weight, you're dying, and you're barely surviving on low calories for a short amount of time because it's non-sustainable. Obviously, you know what I mean. If you were to take a fighter at the weight cut and continue the same pattern he's on to the next day, like it no what he did that day, he did it again the next day. A lot of these people would die. They drop dead, brother, because they done almost died trying to make the weight. If they did the same thing the next day, they would die. It ain't fun.
No, man, absolutely not. And I mean, basically every fighter, especially at the highest level, goes through it. I don't know if I've ever really talked to you much about a potential weight class change, or it's just like it's a necessary evil to make that weight, or have you ever thought about 155? Are you thinking about 155 or 145 is your weight?
Oh Lord, no, brother. Heck no. I'm tired of fighting these dudes. Is already bigger than me. Did you see how much bigger Edson Barbosa was than me?
Mhm.
Hell no, I ain't about to fight Khabib or some. Hell no, dude. I mean, I'd have to be armed to even think about that. Hey, let me tell you what. The number one thing that's messed up with this sport that's easy to fix, because all the other stuff that's messed up with the sport, I feel like you're never gonna fix that. The corruption, the this, the that, that's never gonna fix. But I'll tell you what, dude, they can fix this in 5 minutes. Do no more cutting weight. You show up and you fight what the you weigh at. And I mean, dude, like I walk around 165, and so I'd either fight 170 or 165. And that's just show up that day. You get on the scale that day, 5 minutes before you get in the cage. And every person that has not fought, or even if they have, they're going to have an opinion on it, but they're all wrong. I'm just telling you, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And they're not the ones cutting the weight saying, "Oh yeah, this is great for us. This is great." The fans ain't even getting as good of a show, and the fighters are getting a less. I think it's part of the reason they have us cut weight is because it'll kill us off quicker. I don't know. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I feel like I don't know that. I don't know, man. It really does kill you quicker, though, cutting all that weight. It's not good for you. And fighters would have longer careers and make more money if they didn't have to cut the weight, I feel like.
I hope we see it, man. I hope we see it. I think the reason that it happens is because it's one of those deals where if one guy does it, everybody's got to do it, because then that's an advantage, right? But I think I've always thought the only way to really do it is to California did a little bit with this, is they do a hydration test, and so it just shows you this person when they're hydrated. It's NCAA college wrestling is doing it as well. When you're hydrated, this is what you weigh, so that's what you fight at. But yeah, I see, it feels like it's like a long ways away from all the commissions enacting something like that, but I hope someday, because I completely agree with you. I think basically everybody does. It's just one of those weird things that everybody says is dumb, but the sport still does.
Right. And hey, I'll be the first one that does it. If y'all need a guinea pig, we just need me an opponent. Find them 165, 167. That'd be a perfect cutoff, 167. Because
Yep.
I'm about 165, but if I eat a bunch, I'll be 167. But if you could find somebody that says, "Hey, I'll fight Bryce Mitchell, 167 pounds. We weigh in 5 minutes before we go in the octagon. 2 minutes. We weigh in right before we step in the octagon." I'll do that. I promise. I'll
Yeah.
do it. I'll be the guinea pig. I'll tell y'all how it goes.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Because a lot of people talk about like more weight classes or this or that. I just feel like if the commissions and the promotions just made it so that that hydration test was put in effect and just to change the culture of it, I think that if the culture changed, then it wouldn't even be that big of a deal and it would feel normal again. It would be a lot more safer. But
Here's the thing with the hydration test is that I don't even think if you just showed up and just fought at what you weighed that it would be necessary. I'm talking like a literal no weight cut. Like you show up and then enter the octagon. I mean, literally like the skip, you know, where Dan Margliotta come and he pats you down and he says you got your mouthpiece and he's putting the grease on you. I think these need to get on a scale right there. I mean, right there in front of everybody. Okay, I got my shorts on, so I'm allowed 1 pound. So if I agreed to 167, I've got my shorts on and my gloves, maybe 1.5 pounds because I wasn't thinking about the gloves. But I mean, right fucking there, right before you step in the cage. Now, you could monitor somebody's walking around weight that week. So like say you show up a week before the fight, you could weigh in right when you get there and say, okay, is it realistic? Is this guy going to weigh in at the 167 that he says? Will he come in at 164, 165? Yeah, he'll make it this week. But you know, it would be obvious if you're going to make the weight or not that way. You would know plenty in advance if you're going to make the weight or not. There wouldn't be a concern. It'd be like, oh, you know, okay, he weighed 165 all week. He's going to make it. And there's no need to do all this cutting. There ain't. It's just it's part of the game. It's a stupid part, but I mean, good thing for me is I know how to do it, and it sucks. But you know, it's unnecessary. It is what it is.
100% unnecessary. And I wasn't planning on having a long conversation with you about weight to start off this interview, but I appreciate the conversation about it because it is it's unhealthy and it is dumb because you guys are just rehydrating back to the same weight anyway. So hopefully something will change. But like I said, I don't think the commissions right now are in a place that they're really going. Any change is coming soon, but hopefully as this sport continues to get older, that will change. We're talking about fights and we're talking about you fighting 165 pounds. There's a video out there a lot of people saw that, you know, one of the first thing that you said when you went back to the locker room after losing to Topuria was that you just did not want to do this anymore, that you wanted to invest your energy into something else, that it hurts too much. You didn't want to feel that anymore. Can you talk about that moment? Because obviously I think that caught a lot of people's attention. They're like, hey, this guy was undefeated and that was a real raw moment that we got to see back in your locker room.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I wasn't undefeated. I'd still had losses and stuff. But you know, I couldn't even stand up on my own. So I was not saying the most intelligent stuff. You know, I ain't been drunk in a while because I stopped doing all that stuff. But I can imagine back when I was younger, you know, one time I got carried out of this Mexican restaurant. They gave me some. I was drunk going into the damn restaurant, dude. I mean, it was like they carried me out of the restaurant. If I did something or said something in that restaurant that offended somebody, you know, I would definitely apologize for whatever. But, you know, I was actually so drunk, I was doing this like while they were eating and stuff. But, anyways, while you're in that state, you got to realize you're not completely normal. You're not thinking rational. You're not, you know what I mean? And so, you know, I was really mad. I was being really hard on myself. And I'll be honest with you, Brett, if that's the best I could do, I swear on my life, if that's the best I could do, I would retire because that was terrible. And I was in a lot of pain. I was tired immediately when the fight started. I mean, within the first couple minutes, I was tired. And if that's the best I could do, I'd retire. I'd be done. I'd never do that again. But I know I can do better. And after thinking about it and knowing how much better I could have done, yeah, I've got a different opinion on the fight.
So you've talked about, you were on your Instagram talking about the flu. That's what you're referring to, yeah? Is it basically you weren't yourself in that fight?
No, dude, I was jacked up. That wasn't me at my best. And I don't know, man, I had a lot of circumstances, you know, going on. And people don't really see all the stuff that the fighter is contemplating before the fight, what the factors are and this and that. And I just don't think I was at my best, you know. And honestly, you know, I had a couple $1,000 in my bank account. And they told me that, you know, you're not going to fight again if you don't take this fight, we're not finding you one till February. They said we're booked. And so it's like you can live off a couple $1,000 in your bank, or you can fight December 10th. And if not, off till February. And so I said, you know what? I don't want to live on a couple $1,000 till February. And I would have made it because I could have scrapped by. I really could have, and maybe I should have. But at the time, I thought I'd win the fight, brother. I thought I was going in there with the flu to kick somebody's ass anyways, and that just wasn't the case. I was not capable of kicking ass that night. I was capable of taking an ass kicking. I did do that pretty well. But, I thought I was going to win. If I would have known, Brett, how I would have felt walking into the cage. And I'm not talking like scared or I'm talking like when I went to throw punches, they weren't hard. You know what I mean? Like I was gasping for air, but I felt very comfortable in there the whole time going into the fight. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna kick this guy's ass, but I just wasn't there.
You think if you had more than a few $1,000s in the bank account that you still would have gone through the fight then? What you're saying is
Hell
like,
no.
yeah. So it was, even though you were confident you were going to win, it was the money.
Yeah, I was wanting some money, and I thought I would win. And I thought, even though I was sick, I'm still going to win. And I thought maybe he'll hit me a couple more times because, I might be a little bit slower. I feel, but no, I was way slower. I was jacked up. I probably should have waited till February. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I honestly thought, and that's, everybody thinks I'm trying to discredit my opponent when I talk about me having the flu. No, I'm not. That dude is good. I'm talking, even if I would have gone in there healthy, I promise it would have been a good fight. I still think I'd have won, but it would have been a good fight. That guy is good. He's very good. I'm not discrediting him. I'm just telling you the truth. And the truth is that people deserve to know that if they paid money to watch me fight, they deserve to know that I was not at my best. And the next time they pay to watch me fight, I will do better. And that's why I come out and tell the truth about it, is because people that are paying their money to watch the fight, especially to watch me fight, they need to know I can do better. And they need to know exactly why I look like. And I was fighting a very good guy, why I felt like, and they need to know that I can do better. And that's why I come out about, and I don't feel bad about spreading the truth. I mean, if I was sitting up here telling you something that wasn't true, it'd be on my conscience. But everybody's gonna make fun of me. They're saying, "Oh, you're blaming the loss on the flu." Well, yeah, I guess I kind of am. I don't know what to tell you. I felt like, and I think I could have done better. And I'm being honest with you. I honestly think I shouldn't have took the fight, but I don't give. I did, and I can do better than that.
Yeah, I gotta say, as somebody who interviews people on a regular basis in this sport, I get really sick of the, oh, he's making excuses thing. Like, I appreciate when people draw back the curtain and let us know what's going on in their lives. I appreciate you telling us that, like, hey, there were some financial things that were going on around your life, and that's why you took the fight. That's why you couldn't pull out of the fight, and that you didn't feel well. And that if you did feel well, and that was a good performance by you, that you wouldn't want to do this anymore because you wouldn't think that you could hang with the very top. Like, I appreciate that type of honesty. I like that. It tells us more about you. So these people who are like on Twitter telling you it's excuse making, I want to tell every fighter, and I do tell fighters all the time, like it's almost like you have to say, like, I'm not making an excuse. I'm not making an excuse when you tell us what happens, like what goes on behind the fight. It's like, it's not excuse making. It's just telling us what happened.
I'm kind of making excuses, but my excuses are backed by science, okay? And the science is the flu you up, okay? And I shouldn't I'll tell you what, brother, I've got an excuse for every loss that I've ever had. And by excuse, I don't mean like other people are responsible. I mean, I should have done something better, and I know that what I could have done better. My first loss as an amateur, brother, I had a hole in my chest. I took the fight with staph. You know what I mean? My opponent missed weight by 5 pounds. I was at 35. My first loss, dude almost broke my arm. To this day, my arm don't work right all the way. It works right most of the time, but you ever have a seatbelt on in the car and you go to reach for something and the seatbelt locks up? What do you have to do to unlock it?
Like, pull on it.
You have to go back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
My arm's the same way. If my arm locks up, I have to go back slow and then re-extend it. but my arm locks up like a seatbelt. But that was on my amateur loss. I had a hole in my chest, man, and that was at 35. I was on them antibiotics, but there was a hole in my chest, brother. I mean, I shouldn't have took the fight. I had the staph, and there was the pus and was coming out a couple days before. I shouldn't have took the fight. The Ultimate Fighter. Hell, I shouldn't even been on the show. Let me tell you about the Ultimate Fighter, Brett. I went on that. I didn't even train. All I did was ride a bike for 6 months. I rode my bike for 6 months and showed up on Ultimate Fighter. And because I couldn't train because my back, for 6 months I couldn't train. I was riding my bike. So I went on the Ultimate Fighter just off riding my bike, brother. I couldn't train because my back. I could hit pads, but that was it. I couldn't even hit them too hard because if I twisted too hard. But when I went to fight on the actual, here's the thing, is on the Ultimate Fighter, when I went to fight, when I fought Jay Cuccinello and Brad Katona, my back did not hurt during the fight. It just, so I'm not saying during the fight my back was hurting. It miraculously stopped hurting the week of my fight. My back did. Wow. But for 6 months going into Ultimate Fighter, brother, I could not train. I could not grapple like hard. I was riding a bike. I'm not kidding you. I mean, I can't make this up. And so, I mean, imagine, but I didn't want to turn down the Ultimate Fighter. I couldn't twist my back left and right, and I couldn't wrestle. I mean, imagine not wrestling somebody hard for months and months and months, and then just going in the cage and being like, I'm going to do the best I can. And that's what I did on the Ultimate Fighter. You know, I was underweight, I was undertrained, I was fighting through injuries, and I'm capable of better. But the reason I come out and I tell you the truth, Brett, is because I know that I'm capable of better, and I know that's the truth, and I just want to be as honest as I can with you. You know, but here's the thing. I'm not saying that none of my opponents are not good. That's, you know, they have their injuries too. They have their sicknesses too. They're dealing with financial issues too. I'm just telling you my side of the story, how I know I can be better. If I didn't have that hole in my chest when I was an amateur, I could have done better. If I didn't take this fight with the flu, I know I could have done better. I couldn't even breathe in there, bro. I couldn't even breathe. And on the Ultimate Fighter, if my back was a little bit better for that 6 months before the fight, I think I'd have done better. But I still did as good as I could in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I fought as hard as I could against Topuria. That's all I had in the tank. But it's still, I could have done better if the tank was a little bit more full.
When you're an amateur, okay.
Yes.
When you're entering the Ultimate Fighter, okay. You're now in the UFC. You've been there for multiple fights, and you're inside the rankings. And I understand that it's happened for you pretty quickly, and I think that's part of it. But this financial side of it, I mean, we're talking about, you know, weight cutting and how that could be improved. I think a lot of people would sit here and say a guy who's ranked in the top 10 shouldn't be saying that there's only a couple $1,000s in his bank account. How did that happen? And is there something that needs to change within the sport, or like, how do you view that your situation where you felt like you had to fight in December and not your best because of financial reasons?
Well, I didn't have to. I wasn't dying for the money. I could have made it. I would have not starved to death for sure. I wasn't going to starve to death, and all my bills would have been paid. But then I just kept thinking, well, what if they tell me a fight in February and then it don't happen in February? And it was uncertainty. I didn't know what was going to happen if I didn't took the fight. And in my head, I told myself, well, I'm going to win anyways. You know what I mean? And so I just took the fight, even though I was not in 100% condition. I took the fight, but you know, here's the thing with my money too, is like I invest it. It's not like I just waste it, but I chose to invest it. And I knew that I would only have a little bit left. And I was expecting that fight to come around. I was expecting to win money too. And so I don't know, you know, I'm not really complaining about the financial side of it, but to say it wasn't a factor, that would be a lie. But I'm not complaining about my financial situation. I'm very happy. I try to invest my money, especially in the real estate, farmland, whatever, even equipment. I invest in this old equipment. I like these old tractors. I like these old cutters. I want to make money off of hay one day, you know. And I cut a couple hundred acres last year, and I did really good. But I got some old cutters and stuff. I got a brand new cutter now, and I got some old equipment that I've invested in, but it's nice equipment. But anyways, I'm investing in things that I think I can make money with, not things like a freaking Ferrari that'll probably go down in value, or a gold watch that might go down in value.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad about my financial situation. I'm very happy, very blessed, but I was a little bit worried about not having money till February. And so I took the fight when I probably shouldn't have. And that was one factor making me want to take it, was the money. But it
Yeah.
wasn't the only factor. I also didn't want to be and I wanted to show that I'm not and then I showed up and fought when I said that I would, even though I was hurting. And I just wish I wouldn't have. I wish I wasn't sick, dude, because I wanted to fight, Brett. I wanted to. I
Mhm.
mean, I really wanted to. I was not in the physical capacity to do it, or at least to fight well. I had the capacity to get my ass kicked. I didn't have the capacity to kick nobody's ass that night. You know, I was at half capacity or whatever it was.
Are you able to take anything like skills wise or technique wise, or like you said, Ilia is very good, and I mean you guys are top 10, and everybody in the top 10 is going to be so skilled, so athletic, so prepared. Just being in there, even when you weren't at your best, did you feel like this is my level? I mean, and skills wise, I'm right there with everything. Like, were you able to learn anything through that, or because of how bad you felt, it's kind of like you just throw the whole fight out?
You can't throw the whole fight out because we still got to see what I do under a stress test where I can't really generate a threatening offense, how I survive. And I didn't survive very well. But my problem is that I went into that fight, I think, thinking, hey, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have my normal energy. And I did my normal routine. I went in there and I shot a whole bunch. If I could go back, Brett, I probably wouldn't have even shot a takedown but in the moment, I was not accepting what I was capable of. And if I look back at it, I would tell myself going in that fight, I said, look, don't even shoot a takedown. Just go in there and jab and cross and throw a couple kicks and just save your energy. You know what I mean? But I was fighting like I would normally. And if I would have readjusted my strategy, I know I could have done better. Could have probably went all 3 rounds. But I really gassed myself out shooting a lot of takedowns and stuff like that where normally I shoot those takedowns and I don't feel that tired. But after those takedowns, I was like, man,
Yeah.
I'm really out of breath. I probably should have struck. Probably should have just done jabs and crosses and saved some energy. And I would have took a hit better that way as well because I wouldn't have been as tired. When you can breathe and you got your lungs about you, you can take hits better. And
Mhm.
so if I would have just jab cross, bounced a little bit more, um, but I mean he did good. He attacked the calf, he attacked the body, he did good. But I was landing on him too. You gotta realize like I was touching him, but it wasn't doing nothing. And and I know I've got power in my hands. And if we rematch, I know I can touch him.
How quick, with everything that went on and the fact that not only are you coming off of a loss, but you came off a loss in which like you didn't feel like you were able to perform up to your standards. Are you real anxious to get back in, or would you like some time off? What's like the time frame of seeing you again?
I'm probably too anxious to get back in because I think I need to actually heal myself. I probably took a lot of brain damage on that one. That stuff, I don't think it ever recovered, but a couple months would definitely help, but I am anxious to prove that I can do better. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd like to get in there. I'd do better right now. You know what I mean? Like if we fought today, I'd do better than I did a couple weeks ago, whatever, a month ago, whenever we fought. But yeah, I feel like I could do better right now. I'd love to prove it. I'm gonna wait till I run out of money again, and I'm gonna take another fight. But I'll be out of money. Oh, it should probably be by summer.
That's how you decide when you're going to fight. On the time frames of your fight is just what the number is in your bank account. That's
Well, yeah, that's a big factor. And then, um, I mean, like God is the biggest factor. If I feel like I should be taking the fight because I just have this feeling. you know, and that whole fight, man, I can't tell you how good I felt going into the fight, how prepared I was to win. I had the mindset of a champion going into that fight, brother. I was so prepared. I was in such good shape. And I felt the presence of God. I remember going into the fight, just talking to God, saying, we're gonna be, this is it, we're strong, we're gonna win. And I had that feeling that I'll always get before fights, and I don't know, I love that feeling. And when I get that feeling that I want to fight and that I'm ready to fight and that I need to fight, it's something I can't really explain, but when I have the feeling that it's time to fight, that's when I call my manager, Matt Weibel. I say, hey, let's look for something. Let's look for something. And so to actually get that fight on December 10th, like, we had been looking for months. You see what I mean? So it's not like, oh, well, if you don't fight Topuria, we'll get you one next week. It's like, I've been trying for months, bro. For 3 months, I've been thinking, okay, Weibel, I'm ready to fight. Can we find something? Month goes by, nothing. Month goes by, nothing. Month goes by, nothing. Another month goes by. Hey, we got you this guy named Mobstar. I don't give a what his name is. Let's go. Oh, that fight canceled. Month later, though, hey, Mitchell, if you want to fight Topuria, you have to next month. If not, you till February. So I said, let's go in December. You know what I mean? And so, if I could just, okay, hey, I got the flu, let's fight next week, I would, but that's not the case. If I don't fight now, I'm living off of a couple $1,000 till February. And so I took the fight, but I thought I would win, bro. I thought I was gonna go in there and win. I didn't know I was gonna lose that bad.
I mean, it's not your situation is not so much different than any other fighter out there, but to hear you lay it out like that, it's just like, man. And you said, you were drunk that night, or the equivalent of it, and you were saying things you didn't mean. But what, I guess, like, the last question, and then we'll see, what this year, how this year plays out when we see you again in the octagon. There's obviously a ton of fights still left for you in that division. But like, what keeps you in it, I guess, like the way you're describing it, it just sounds awful. It sounds like an awful way to live your life, of not knowing financial stability, not knowing when you're going to work. Having the possibility that fight might fall apart on you in any given moment. I mean, I guess what keeps you in this lifestyle that doesn't sound like it's so easy to navigate sometimes?
Well, I do feel that I have a extremely good natural ability to do this and to be a world champion. And so I really just want to be the best at something, and that's what really keeps me going. But outside of fighting, what I'm trying to do here at the farm is set up a lifestyle, brother, where I don't even need money, where me and my family don't need money. And if you can create your own food, you can create your own shelter. What do you need money for? Nothing. So I take this fight money and I pay off my farm with it. I buy old equipment with it in the hopes that one day there'll be a day where I'm world champ, I can retire, and I can live off the farm, and I'll never go to town again. I'm going to live on the farm. I'm going to barter. I'm going to be done with money. I'm pulling my money out the bank, and I'm buying old Ford tractors with it, and I'm done spending money. I'm going to grow my own food. I'm going to barter my own food. That's the goal, is to just try to save up. And I'm blessed to be able to do this. And I'm not complaining about the financial situations. I don't want y'all to think that I'm not. I'm happy with at least having the option of MMA fighting there. You know what I mean? I'm happy with it, but I'm talking about, the reality of the situation is that these fighters, they're going to go from fighters like me. If you're like Poirier or McGregor or Masvidal, I'm talking like the rich people, like, yeah, they could retire legit, not have to worry about nothing. But most of these fighters are going to be like me. They're going to make money. They need to invest it in something and then, you know, live off scraps until that next fight and then invest it. And, you know, that's just the truth of it, you know, but that's almost any job. And think about this is like, I used to paint houses for a living. You know, the fumes will kill you, you know, fumes kill you just as like punches do, you know, so I'd rather get punched than go down by fumes. Cause I mean, I painted whole factories. I painted houses, brother. I painted hundreds of houses. I painted factories. I've painted, outside fences, decking, all that. You know, I used to paint, you know, I'm a painter. People don't know that I'm a painter. Okay. So I'm gonna paint this picture how it is for you. I don't care what you are, what you're doing. You're sacrificing some of your health for some of your job. Some people more than others. Like if you're a painter, that'd be my alternative. I'd be painting right now, brother. I'd be breathing in quick dry fumes, and I'd be covered in sheetrock and texture. It's like, okay, do I want to go get punched twice a year, or do I want to sheetrock and breathe in quick dry 6 days a week?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and these are options we live with, bro. And I just make the best and I don't always make the best options, but I think that I am. I'm making the best decisions. I think that I'm trying my best. And so with MMA, I feel like if there's nothing else that if I just do perfect at and have a good run, I can retire like that. Nothing legal.
Mm-hmm.
Think of something legal where dude, in 2 years, would you agree I could have $10 million in my bank and be like the next Israel Adesanya and say I knock out Volkanovski cold, okay, and then go on 3 fights, knock out 3 other contenders? I'd be 10 million in the bank, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what this job that's what this career promises. It has the tantalizing possibility of that.
That's right. That's
but
right.
It's tough to get to. It's tough on your way to get there.
Besides lottery tickets and illegal activities, what the else can I do to get $10 million in my bank in 3 years? No, I can go knock Alexander Volkanovski the out and get $10 million. And I'm tired of him talking about there's no other contenders. He ain't fighting the toughest. That's what's up with him. He's getting the easy fights. These contenders are taking each other out. That's what's going on. He's getting paid 100 times what I get paid. The fight ain't even as hard as I'm fighting. That's what's going on. So if Alexander Volkanovski, he wants to fight an easy contender right here, somebody he can just beat up and get paid easy money. Hey, come on, buddy. I'm easy money. Come on.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to end the first interview of 2023, man. We covered a lot of ground, Bryce. I appreciate it, dude. And we'll do it more often. We'll do a few of these interviews over the course of the year. I'll stay in touch with you and we'll find out what your next fight is, man. Looking forward to seeing you back in action.
But dude, please do holler at me. Thank you so much for having me on, and we'll stay in touch, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.